Hello everybody, this is Sab in Paris, ready for another creative blog and article writing show. I'm looking like this today. Hi everybody, very sleepy Sab today, so don't expect any fireworks because you won't get any. If you look at my eyes, they're looking kind of because for some reason at about 3 or 3:30 in the morning today I couldn't get to sleep. And I thought, this is ridiculous. So I thought, I'll get up and carry on doing what I was doing before I went to bed. So I did. And by about 8 o'clock, I was shattered. Had someone to talk to at 9 o'clock and tried to go back to bed for an hour. But so nervous that the alarm wouldn't wake me up that didn't really work either. So, so what? So nothing. So that's me, kind of tired. Might be rubbing my eyes a bit. Might nod off from time to time, just give me a nudge if that's the case. And I'm just going to share some words with you. It's probably going to be one of the most chilled out shows I'm ever going to do because I'm just feeling totally chilled out. I'm just going to throw words at you, see what happens, and we'll take it from there. So this show, if you're watching on the replay, thank you. Say hello, please. I'd love to know that you watched. If you're watching live, say hello. I'd love to know that you're watching. And ask me any questions about writing, anything at all about the writing process, words, fancy stuff, little nitty gritty stuff. I don't mind, anything you like to do with writing, and I will have something to say about it. Possibly useful, possibly not useful. It might bring up a story. I don't know. That's what is so wonderful about coming on here every week. I haven't got the slightest idea what's going to happen, and that's just the way I want it to be. Isn't it a bit like that when you sit down to write every day? You do write every day, don't you? It's one of my things. When you sit down to write every day, well, I'll give you my example, as I often do. I sit down to write every day. It's pure adventure. I have no idea what I'm going to write unless I've had an idea from the night before. But that's normally not the case. I sit down, I've got my photograph to inspire me, I've got the rest of my life to inspire me, and something happens. And it's always something different. I mean, it's different words in a different order, or the same words in a different order. And sometimes it's a completely different writing style. I'm pushing myself to use more different writing styles, to be honest. Because I do have my kind of style. It's always kind of the same thing. So sometimes, occasionally, I will try to break out of that style and do something completely different. I have this idea for an upcoming article, did come to me, just a spontaneous sort of explurging of stuff, extemporaneous puking out of paragraphs. I don't know what's going to happen, but literally writing down each thought that comes to me as it comes to me, no editing, and publishing it. That could be quite fun. So I'm thinking of doing that in a future one. Sometimes it's a poem that comes out. Sometimes it's about my personal life. Sometimes it's about a Paris oddity, and I will literally just describe it as interestingly as possible. Sometimes it's some sort of ironic social comment. Sometimes it's nothing to do with anything. And that's the structure that has kind of crept up on me for my writing every day. Right, so I'm going to, I don't know, I just don't know what I'm doing. I told you, I'm really tired, so I'm just going to throw stuff at you. Pick this up today. This is always a nice book of mine to pick up. It's called Begin It Now. It's a sequel to A Guide for the Advanced Soul, which I don't have. So I'm afraid I'm still very unadvanced at the moment. But it's a nice book that you open it up anywhere and see what it says. So just open it up here. The absence of alternatives clears the mind marvellously. Henry Kissinger. The absence of alternatives clears the mind marvellously. That's quite fun. And in our writing, we could apply that by saying, when you sit down to do something, only do that and have a time for it. Have a time where you're not going to do anything else. I was looking around for a fancy timer that I've got, which is red. It goes from red, it's this big lump of red, and it slowly disappears. And that's a really good tip, actually. Don't do anything else for that time. Give yourself an hour, sit down to paint, to write, to do whatever it is. And you haven't got any alternatives. You're not going to do anything else. Turn your phone over, turn it off, and get into what you're doing for an hour. Only for an hour. It could be for 20 minutes, couldn't it? So that's quite nice. Should we have a look at another one together? But all right. The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action. Herbert Spencer. I'm reading it again so that we can all try and get something out of it. The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action. I've been thinking about learning quite a bit recently, and I've got an article in mind, and it's going to be called wrote it down somewhere. Probably on a post-it. And you know what post-its have a habit of doing? Here we go. So it's called The Beautiful Baloney of Speed Reading. The Beautiful Baloney, like nonsense, of speed reading. There's these speed reading courses, and I was into them at some point, many, many years, decades ago. Thought it'd be really cool to be able to read really fast. And these days, I don't think that's the case anymore. It's quite interesting. I've really done a 180 flip. I thought it'd be great. Learn to read really fast, and then you can read more. And then you can know more. So basically where I am now is, what on earth are you going to do with all that stuff you stuff in your head? Is it really going to stick with you? Is it going to be useful? I've come to the conclusion I only need to read as fast as I think. And that can be quite slow. And I have actually gone further. I actually kind of think that the slower I read, the more I get out of something. So I've done a complete U-turn on speed reading. I think it's absolutely nonsense, except if possibly you have some real life task where you have to read and understand a lot of stuff in a very short space of time for a specific reason, like passing an exam. Okay, but in real life, do we need to read more and more and more, faster and faster and faster? I'm not convinced. Slow down, guys. Take it easy. So I've got this idea for an article which is actually basically gonna blow speed reading out of the water as far as I'm concerned. Dorothy, hello Dorothy. I'm going to look at a couple of your things in a second. In fact, why don't I do that now? So it'll be, if I do criticise speed reading courses, that'll be fun, won't it? Because people will get upset and not agree with me, and maybe some will agree with me. But I just think this idea of speed, filling your head. I want to be getting stuff out there, not stuffing stuff in there. I want to stuff some stuff in there, but speed reading, really? I was what is it when you follow someone? Not an advocate, not an avocado, not an acolyte of Tony Buzan, kind of. I bought a few of his books back in the 70s or the 80s, I think. And he had speed reading, he had amazing memory techniques for memorizing tons of stuff using cool image systems. You'd link the cat to the chair, and that would make you remember. It was really amazing stuff. I loved it, and I had this dream that I was going to be this magic memory guru that could remember anything. But then very quickly, and this is always the case with me, very quickly, when there wasn't a real life reason for it, like memorizing a pack of cards, having gone through it once, why? So I don't need to remember a lot of stuff. For a start, most of it's on the internet, and secondly, I want new stuff to come out, not stuff I've memorized. I want brand new stuff to come out of my head every day, and I don't have to explicitly remember stuff or explicitly read through books like an express train, basically not appreciating them in the slightest. I want to savour them. Despina just sent me a copy of the of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, because I'd lost mine. I'm going to savour it. I'm literally going to just go through it slowly, savour each picture of the seagulls in black and white, the text, it's a little parable. I'm just going to savour it. And that's my philosophy at the moment. So the great aim of education is not knowledge but action. So yeah, education and allowing you to be able to know what to do wisely in any given situation. That's cool. Not reciting stuff. Okay, so that's enough of that. Let's have a look at the group. So creative blog and article writing group. Let's chug through until we get a couple of things I want to show you. Do check this out, by the way. It's my Infinite Creativity Now masterclass starting at the end of January. It's going to be amazing. You bring your creative project. I get you through it. We get you through it as a group in 9 weeks. Plus you become a master at creativity and productivity. Dorothy says, I have not read a book for a long time now. I bought one today in French. I intend to read it as well. Yeah, it's funny you say that because I mean I kind of collect books and don't actually read them. I was going to show you. Like here's a little collection I've got. Can you see? And to be honest, I'm not going to read every word in these. I just love having books. Music, I had a lovely music collection, hundreds of CDs, hundreds of albums. Never really touched them. I'm quite happy to get new music from streaming services. Books, I really am not a fan of ebooks. I want the paper in my hand. And you know, I want to open it up, smell it. I buy them second hand often. You know, it's just lovely. You know, you flick it through, you pop it in your pocket. It's great. So you know, I like to have words to make them tangible things because words aren't tangible, are they? They're inventions. They're symbols. So I kind of like to have something tangible to make words more real for me. I think that's a beautiful thing. So chugging through here. So this is this. I'm not going to spend more than 10 seconds on it. It's an amazing creativity masterclass. Lasts 9 weeks. You finish by getting your creative project done and having amazing techniques to create and produce anything that you like in the future. So that's starting in January. Check it out. There'll be a 5-day challenge as well before that. Here's Dorothy. Dorothy. Right. So let me make that a bit bigger. Dorothy coming into her own over the weeks and months that I've known her. I hope you enjoy your book, Dorothy. When I blow the screen up, okay, so there's some amazing pictures. Let's look at the pictures first and see how that's influenced your words. Gorgeous, isn't it? Where is it? I wonder where you are. This must be in the south of France, is it? Those are great waves, and there's these sort of surfers waiting for the waves to come in. And this has obviously inspired your words. And your words are, nothing stops a windsurfer. It's December and cold in the air. I have double jackets and one more in my bag. Looking at the water, coming in with waves. Stones disappear under the water. To the water, foaming is withdrawn. Big waves, small waves, movements that seldom end, movement that goes on. That's it's nice. It reminds me of almost haiku poetry, where you don't say, there's no sort of story as such. It's little snippets of impressions of things, and we really get an impression for what is happening there. I like, you know, just chopping down the lines to suddenly big waves, small waves, movements that seldom end. Maybe I'll change your English a tiny bit. Movement that seldom ends, movement that goes on. Yeah, it's really nice. It's simple. There's repetition there. Repetition is a really valuable thing. Sometimes I will do anything not to repeat an adjective, a descriptive adjective, say. Other times I will explicitly choose to repeat a word exactly as you have done there, Dorothy, because it's powerful. It can, it emphasizes what you're saying. Movement that seldom ends, movement that goes on. And in fact, you're saying the same thing twice. You're saying movement twice, literally, and that seldom ends, that goes on. It's the same thing in different words, which is cool. I like it. Yeah, really nice. So that's nice. Yeah. Illustrated with the pictures. What more could you want? Right, let me flip over to one of my things. Now, do say hello if you'd like to. If you're watching on the replay, say hello as well. I'd like to know that you're here, you're enjoying it, and what you hear. You know, because I'll be dipping into this, dipping into that. For example, I might be dipping into this. Look, It's a dipping in show tonight. I checked out 𝗖𝗥𝗘𝗔𝗧𝗜𝗪 to see if I still had it, and it turned up some weird, dangerous Japanese site. So 𝗖𝗥𝗘𝗔𝗧𝗜𝗪 might not be my new crazy words site. I might have to find a new one. We'll see. This is a favourite book of mine. It's called The Little Book of African Wisdom. My mum gave me this years ago. The Little Book of African Wisdom. And it served me well, because not only does it have snippets of wisdom which are really unique to Africa. They, their daily routines and the things they interact with are completely different to mine, but you can still see why they use them. And the other thing is, I took some of the little drawings they have. You see some of the, try and show you a little drawing like this. These sort of African things, sometimes they're Aboriginal. I think some Aboriginal ones as well. I'll read you a couple in a minute. You have stuff like this. And one more. This one here. You'll see this in a second. You see that there? I used these in a painting from many years ago. Let me show you the painting. I made this painting of these, basically of these symbols. I can't blow it up anymore. Here it is. It's very small. I'm sorry about that. It doesn't blow up. But you can see there, that one there is actually that. And I took a few others as well. Some really cool representations of humans and stuff like that. This one's holding a kind of spear. And there's some really weird and wonderful looks there. So I'm going to open this randomly as well and read you a couple of these from the Little Book of African Wisdom from my mum. She didn't write it; she gave me the book. Here's one. I think I'll show you at the same time. It's more fun, isn't it? A hungry stomach knows no law, from Mozambique. Right. So I guess that means when you're hungry, it's not going to shut up. It's going to make sounds and. It's not going to stop rumbling until you give it some food. And here's another one just underneath. What does it say? Hunger will make a monkey eat pepper. Hunger will make a monkey eat pepper. It won't focus there. There you go. And this is on the theme of food, obviously, and hunger. So, hunger is one of the biggest drives, because if hunger means we need to eat, if we don't eat, we die. So we'll do all sorts of things in the name of that. And take it open again at random. No, this one. No regrets. They're under these sort of randomish sort of themes. No regrets. Doing one's best drives away regret. Doing one's best drives away regret. Yeah, you won't regret something you've done. You generally regret things that you haven't done, I think. Now here's another one. The Emperor's New Clothes. Everyone's character is good in their own eyes. Everyone thinks they're doing great, but not everyone else does. The king's dog thinks that they bow to it because of its bark. Ah, that's interesting, from Uganda. The king's dog thinks that they bow to it because of its bark. Okay. But what they're really doing is bowing to its master, who is behind the dog, let's say. So that's interesting. That's good. It's about the mirages, the veils we spin over our understanding of the world. And there's a nice one as well. One more. It is better to spend the night in the irritation of the offence rather than in repentance for the revenge. So I guess that means it's better to be really annoyed about something, but to wait until the next day before taking action, than acting hastily and regretting it for the rest of your life, maybe. So that's kind of cool. I like it. Right, so let's go over to my writing. These are from the last 7 days, as always. These were the pictures that they're based on. I've got 4 to show you. No, 3. The last 3 you haven't seen. And then, so I'll just show you the pictures quickly, because they are very intimately linked. There's that. Big arch looking through to the Louvre. There's this one, which is one of my perturbing self-portraits. Every 10 pictures, it's a perturbing self-portrait with my son who photobombed the shot. Isn't that cool? I was trying to spit out the words 100% creative or shout it out. And he decided to come in at the end and stick his mug in there. And how cute that is. And here's the last one. I should be showing you these a bit bigger actually. And really interesting poles on a barge near the Pont des Arts, looking over to the Louvre. And I wrote some stuff. What did I write? I'll read one of these to you. See what you think. And again, I'm coming to it fresh. I don't remember what I wrote, so it's new for me as well. There's always something magical about entering the not so modest Passage Richelieu between the Place du Palais Royal, the Royal Palace Place, and the majestic, or should I say imperial, Cour Napoleon Court. On the left and right, large windows give us the impression of being on an overhanging ledge as we gaze down into the light and spacious galleries below. We can't see those galleries, they're on the left and right as we're looking straight ahead. It's a veritable statue contemplating, people watching paradise. But the true highlight of the experience, literally, is the view of the little and large Louvre pyramids seeming to illuminate the sombre corridor with an almost celestial glow. What would Richelieu or the Big N have said? So that was quite a literal description of where I am. And I do want to do more of those. I do want to, honour Paris, because Paris is my muse. It does inspire me. So I do want to not just go off on rambles all the time. Just a word about literally. I'm always very careful when I use the word literally, because literally means really. So if you say, I literally died when she said that, that means you are now in the grave. So I do check myself. Literally, so the true highlight of the experience literally is the view of the little and large Louvre pyramids seeming to illuminate. Well, it's a literal highlight because it's high up in the air and it's light, and it's even lighting. It seems to be lighting the tall arch. So I said, okay, I'll use literally there, and there you go. This is my boy. This isn't a photo bomb as such. But of all my carefully and not so successfully constructed shots where I'm attempting to scream this ad's slogan out of my mouth with a vengeance, the single one with my kid in it had by far the most soul. Whether he's thinking, I'm going to mess this baby up big time, of all the weirdos in all the world, why did this guy have to be my father? Or even, but probably not, I'm glad my dad's not like other dads. I'm happy he's here, where he should be. Yeah, he's a great kid. And we used to read a book together, which was something about my dad's not like other dads. And it started by the kids were taking their dads to school to talk about their profession. And all the others had jobs. Notice the glaring omission of an adjective there. Had jobs like banker, baker, teacher, I don't know, standard jobs. And this kid, the kid in the story, his dad invented things. He made things, weird things like robots. So I don't model myself on him, but I like the idea that, a dad, doesn't matter what the dad is. If you're different from other dads, your kid will probably, if you're lucky, your kid will appreciate it. So I sometimes wonder if he thinks that I'm different to other dads and if he likes that fact. And here's the last one. What's the picture? I've forgotten. Oh yeah, so it's funny coloured poles. I don't know if I should read this one. It's kind of rude. Shall I? I'll read it. I'll read it because it's an example of how this is my space. And I don't mean that old website that doesn't exist anymore. I mean, this is my place. I created it. And when you've got a blog, you can write whatever you like. And I think you should, within reasonable limits, no nasty stuff, but you don't have to please other people when you're writing, and I think a lot of people try to, or they've got some sort of agenda, they're trying to sell something, or they've just done a course which tells them how to write a proper article. And this can be good, but it can also be a disaster because it can kill your own creative voice. So I try every now and then to throw something out there which people wouldn't expect, is sometimes not in the style that I usually write in. There goes a mosquito or something. And I'll see what happens. Basically nothing happens. Some people say, whoa, didn't see that one coming, or something like that. But I sometimes like to let it out there. So here's one that isn't sort of cute little cutesy poems or something about a Paris curiosity. It's a little bit darker than that. So here we are, deep in the annual onslaught of bullshit Black Friday. Even here in France, which has been well and truly infected by this ultra-virulent virus, unlike any other. BSBF has been elevated by the money motivated to incite a public holiday level frenzy, like Christmas and Thanksgiving, for example. By the way, for your information, I don't do Thanksgiving. Thank you. If anyone else wishes me a happy Thanksgiving, I mean, I'm a Brit living in France, we don't do. If anyone else wishes me a happy Thanksgiving, I think I'm going to ram their godforsaken turkey, stuffing and all, where the Wi-Fi doesn't work. I'm the new Grinch of grouchiness. Oh God, it's terrible here in France. It's just like, I don't know what it's like anywhere else, but here in France, where Black Friday, or black is an English word, and so is Friday. So what's that about? It's just taken over. It's a nightmare. Not to mention the fact that I'm online, so millions and millions of emails selling me Black Friday deals. And if you miss Black Friday, you've always got Cyber Monday. It's so cynical. Anyway, so this is what this article is about. With, slightly tongue-in-cheek. Not to mention a veritable vomit fest of sickly sweet, feel-good Facebook posts about how grateful everyone is for everything, and how I should be too, and have I listed everything I'm grateful for today, and if not, why the fuck not? But I can rectify that in the comments below. Fuck that! Can I not be quietly grateful for my life, my lack of pain, my kids, my crazy, my music, my sneaky grin, my friends, my minor sins, all the time, not just on some cynically preordained consumerist orgy orchestrated by the pale profit craving producers that be? That was a question. We'll see. And grateful to whom anyway? Okay, I'll be so fucking grateful if I don't see a single post today telling me to be grateful. Now, pass the damn turkey. So, I had a bit of fun with that. It's all fun. It's all just words. Words don't mean anything. They mean whatever you want them to mean, as Humpty Dumpty said. So it's sometimes interesting to see if you get reactions from a completely different style than you usually write in, which was one of the reasons for doing that. But, often people will politely ignore stuff that they don't like. And if they like you, they'll politely ignore stuff that they don't like that you've written. And if they don't like you, they might call it crap or call you a moron or something, which is fine. It's a reaction. Right, I've got 4 more, but I won't read those now. I'll go back to the blog and see what else is up. See what else Dorothy has written. One of these days I'm going to get this thing buzzing. So, blog for December 2020. Working with pictures on myself. I thought it was going to be my shelf. Let me have a look at these pictures. Dorothy, beautiful set of pictures I've just processed. I've just put onto the masterclass gallery. Please share that. Absolutely beautiful set of self-portraits. Love these shots. Love them. It's one photograph, so they're not going to blow up. There we are, sitting on your... Don't tell me that that's a place you can... That's not your front door looking out onto the sea, is it? Because if it is, I'm definitely going to give you a visit. And I love this curious one where you're looking at us like that. Then you've got this super mug, and then you've got a lovely one with your lovely long hair. I do love long hair. Looking over somewhere else. That's pretty cool. And what are you saying about this? You're saying, who is she? My mind wonders. looking at me after taking the energy of the beach. She must be at least 10 years younger. Do I recognize her as myself? Who is she? My mind wanders. I'm taking it to be wonder, Dorothy. It could be wanders, like goes for a walk, or it could be wonders. So I'm going to take what I think it is. Who is she? Dorothy is Swedish, so English isn't her first language. And look what she's producing. So who is she? My mind wanders. Looking on a morning picture, or looking at a morning picture. She must be 10 years older. Do I recognize her as myself? Who is she? Who changes faces, ages and shapes. Adaptable, customizable, chameleon? Could it be? Could it be, my mind wonders, that the soul is showing herself by the energy of thoughts? No. That the thoughts are shown in my body? No, yes. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe it means another type of saying no. It is not the thoughts. It is the amount of playing energy, the joy, the creative mood you are in that expresses itself in your pictures. That's beautiful. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Let me read you one of mine. No, let me read you another thing. Oh, I found this book. Mishmash, I told you. Found this book on my shelves. It's called The Word Museum. And it says, the most remarkable English words ever forgotten. So they're old words that aren't used anymore. And you just dip in. It's like a dictionary. You dip in and you find words like this. Mundivagant. What do you think a mundivagant means? Well, it's wandering through the world. Wandering through the world. Mundivagant. Fubbery. Deceit. I'll hold it there, then it's a bit more interesting. I'll get this, make me bigger. See if you can see my face and the cover. It's quite nice, isn't it? Fubbery is deceit, deception and cheating. From fub to shift, from Worcester. Just below it, I can't resist, there's one called Fuggleman. A corporal or active adept who exhibits the time for each military motion at the word of command to enable soldiers, marines and small arms men to act simultaneously. Okay. Hence, one who takes, so we're talking about Fuggleman. Hence, one who takes the initiative in any movement and sets an example for others to follow, particularly one who acts as a mouthpiece or in the interest of others, a ringleader. Fuzzle, there's a word called fuzzle, look. To make fuzzy or indistinct with drink. Fuzzled, I'm sure that's a word we still use. To entangle, to fuzzle, to vozzle, to entangle, to confute business. And it comes from Low German, fuzzlig, just tipsy enough to speak indistinctly. And I'll just read you some of the other words without giving you the definitions. Gabaloonsy, Galloptbeer, horse chaunter, hippospadians, Hiddegild, swell mobsman. I'll have to read that. A swell mobsman is a member of the swell mob, a class of pickpockets who go about genteelly dressed. So they're pickpockets who are very nicely dressed. And there's just a whole load of them just on this page. Surfeit water, swaff, swarble, swaz, swell mobsman, swigman, swine grun, swollocking. Wow. Funny old book that, The Word Museum. Okay. Hello, Despina, how are you doing? Just checked in, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Despina, having a very easy, relaxed chat with myself and Dorothy here. And I'm just showing you a bunch of words that come to mind. And couldn't get to sleep until about 3:30 in the morning. I realised I still wasn't asleep. So I thought, well, this isn't working. Had something on my mind, which must remain a closely guarded secret for now. And I said, well, look, just get up and carry on doing what you were doing before you went to bed and see what happens. So I did until 8. was absolutely dead at 8 o'clock, wanting to go to sleep, but then I remembered I had an online meeting with someone at 9. So I tried to go to sleep with my alarm on. I was so nervous that it wouldn't wake me up that I didn't even sleep well then. What book is that? This book is called The Word Museum, the most remarkable English words ever forgotten. It's not, I wouldn't say it's worth buying, it's a curiosity. And it's like a list, an alphabetical list of weird words. 𝗾𝗧𝗘𝗧𝗏. What's a 𝗾𝗧𝗘𝗧𝗏? In one or two of the churches about here, there are still these old structures where the bearers of the corpse in ancient times were wont to rest with their burden, and where the officiating minister met it. A 𝗾𝗧𝗘𝗧𝗏. So it's like a place where people are carrying corpses, carrying the coffin, could rest. Go figure. I'll read you another one of mine. And so these are my 4 latest. And again, I can't remember what I wrote. Isn't that exciting? So let's have a look at this one. There's a place in Paris which is opposite the big horrendous National Library, these tower blocks you can see behind, which are supposed to look like opened books like this, but just look like boring tower blocks. There's a whole row of amazing sculpture statue things representing lots of different nationalities, and I like taking pictures of them from time to time. I reckon when Lady Eiffel smiles, eventually I'll have taken photos of all of them, if I ever run out of stuff. And the text was what? I can't remember. It was this. A faint feeling of unease wafts across this chilly start to my new week as we edge towards mid-December. What will this festive season bring? How will we remember the strangest of 365 days? What does 2021 hold in store after the false promises of 220? Crossed-armed and tight-lipped would be one understandable reaction to the year's non-events for many, unhappy happenings for some. Lady Eiffel, somehow, has served up 12 more months of weird and wayward snapshots of life. For the 3rd time in a row. For that, I'm thankful and truly impressed. But uneasy. And I'm trying to remember why I was uneasy. There was something I was uneasy about. I didn't quite feel comfortable about where I was in my life, what was going on, what's going to happen. Maybe like a premonition of something. I don't really believe in them, but, you know, something happened. Yeah. I mean, it's a coincidence, right? But even though I don't believe in, you know, anything particularly, I mean, I think everything's related to everything else. So you could see a coincidence in everything. But to be honest, if you see a coincidence in everything, then there are no coincidences. You know, it all sort of standardizes itself. So, but the other day, I watched a film, a really good film on Netflix called My Octopus Teacher. A lovely, beautiful, moving film about a man who kind of falls in love with an octopus. Check it out, it's a documentary. And nothing weird. Any more weird than what I just said. I think it was the next day I met a girl with an octopus tattoo. Now, if I was one of those people, I would go, you know, oh my God, it's a sign. But I'm one of the people who says, oh my God, that's funny. And I might pretend that it's a sign. That'll be fun. But I don't think it's more of a sign or less of a sign if you believe it's a sign or not. Have to go. Good night, dearest Sab, and the same to you, Despina. Thanks for watching. So nice to see you popping in. That's all you have to do. I mean, you don't have to do anything. I'll catch the replay. Okay. So that was that one. The next one is this. I've crossed over the river to the 𝐵ibliothèque nationale de France, and there's this weird area which is kind of like a wasteland. I think I call it a wasteland. This is what I said. So there I was, strolling across the windswept wastelands of the 𝐵ibliothèque nationale de France, blatantly minding my own business, when I was accosted by an unmasked marauder, blowing smoke right in my face and spluttering something. He wanted to see my phone, which is usually not a good sign. But it turned out he was paranoid I'd taken his photo while he was smoking a joint. Paranoid because he was smoking a joint, I'd wager. So I showed him my photos where you can't see him or his pal at all. In this one, you can. Way in the distance. Shocking, isn't it? So it's basically these two guys here in the distance were smoking joints, and he thought that I'd taken a photograph of him. I mean, why would I? Well, yeah, please. I think he's getting a bit above his, overestimating the importance of him and his joint there. Now I'm off to my local constabulary to submit the irrefutable evidence and leave the matter in their capable hands. Another mystery solved by your intrepid Paris reporter. Tune in tomorrow for another exciting episode of Sab in the City, cleaning up the mean streets one toke at a time. And I did black and white for, one of the first times in a long time. One of the first times in a long time means there can be another recent one, but not many more. And thanks to Despina, I realised that I wanted to take some more black and white shots, but you need to get a subject which is good in black and white. And I think I talked about this on the photography show. It needs to be not sort of mushy mid-greys, you need to have some strong whites or very, very light and some dark areas. Otherwise, it's not really that great. That's my opinion. I like quite high contrast images. This is a shot of, it's similar to another one I did, the same place, but I liked it in its own right. And I wrote about this as well. It's Saint-Eustache in Paris, a beautiful old church at 𝗤𝙗𝗘. All those empty chairs. So see if you can tell what I did here. These may look like ordinary chairs, but would it be that easy to keep so many seats so orderly and sermon shape? I see they're actually held together with planks of this chilly December's winter wood. I've only just noticed that. I wonder what other secrets this picture might hold. The blown out window, top left, looks rather like an angel, which makes me think of little Angie at another crossroads. A solitary figure flitting across the light reminds me of other souls seeking rare solace from the cradle to the grave. Finally, the deserted foreground brings back the achingly melancholic refrains of Don McLean's Empty Chairs, which for all I know you don't know and are about to discover. Till tomorrow, friends. So this is a great example of literally, there was not the slightest idea of what I was going to write. 1 second before I looked at the chairs and I remembered the song Empty Chairs by Don McLean. And can you guess what all the words in italics are? I don't explain this anywhere, but I'll explain it here just for fun because, I'd like to. It's all titles of songs from the same album. And I haven't actually put the two songs which are the best known, which are American Pie and Vincent. I wanted to leave them out. I wanted to put ones that... And plus, I couldn't fit Vincent into the text, and I couldn't fit American... American Pie in either. It wouldn't have fitted at all. But the other two did. The other 5 did. I managed to get 5 in there without actually saying that they all come from the same album. I'm afraid I don't really listen. I'll skip American Pie. Done it. Been overplayed. I know what it's like. But the other ones on there are incredible. Absolutely incredible. Amazing album. And I'll leave the last one for the last thing, and see what else we've got here. Ashley last week contributed this cover to her book, which is called Forget Me Not, although it was originally in Turkish, I think, translated into English. And it's I haven't even read it. I read this a little bit earlier, and it's really lovely. It's intriguing. She's a lovely lady, Ashley, and I'll read it a bit. This is a cover of my debut novel from 6 years ago, the first book I've written after finally having the courage to quit my corporate job. This book itself is a tale of my life on its own. Besides the tale that's written inside it, every creation is a mirror of its creator ultimately. Now she explains the story, but she doesn't tell the story, and then she gives us some snippets from it. I'll read it. Let's see if I can read it without it being too long. On a fall day in 2014, I quit everything. My corporate job that I hated, my career, therapy, all the pills, all together on the same day with one purpose. To understand what this life was about, because I had lost all meaning and I was suffocating. And I had this wild dream of writing a book since decades. So I sat down to write a fiction novel, planning to write for adults. After writing the first 4 to 5 pages, I realised I was writing a children's novel. That was a shock. I never had that thought. Then as a second shock, I realised I was writing with a voice that was completely different from the short stories I've written until that day. Although I was writing with a style and writing in a genre completely different from everything I'd ever written until that day, nothing was planned. I just witnessed myself putting it on paper. It appeared that I've written a magical tale with a larger-than-life setting, with a visionary tone, with kind of a poetic language, a narration which touches on philosophical and mystical wisdom. A new voice came out from within. The book got published. It is still out there with many editions included in the school curriculums nationwide, etc. That's wonderful. What a wonderful story. And she says in the comments that she hadn't expected to explain it like this. And I think it's the first time she did it, just in this forum, where she felt she could and the time was right. I'll carry on. Looking back now, it is no surprise that me, the little insecure, shy, silent girl who never knew her worth, who was caged in her own mental prison, was dying to speak. She was craving to express herself. Of course I wrote a children's novel. That little girl finally had to speak. And what I wrote is the tale of a little girl who makes a big mistake, gets lost, trying to find her way back, and on the way she discovers herself. No coincidences there. It was me to the bone. The girl who had made a big mistake with her life choices, got lost, trying to find her way back. And this is getting into interesting stuff for me because this is something I love. I write articles on creativity. I'm going to do a creativity course starting in January. Please join me. So this next paragraph just whets my appetite. So what brings out our true inner voice, our true voice while creating? For me, it was surrendering after decades and allowing my inner voice within to speak. Did I do it consciously? No. But I had set the ground, I can say, looking back now. I made the leap, left everything behind, finally sat down to write with some commitment and faith, which was fascinatingly still in me after years of such huge disconnect. I didn't prepare an outline or a summary, nothing, no plans, I just let it flow. Below are some little sentences from the book for you to get a taste of this lonely, insecure little girl, craving to feel special, dying to express herself, got lost on the way and finally began finding her way back. These are my sentences trying to love myself, trying to convince myself that there is more life to explore, trying to restore my faith, trying to just be. I hope you enjoy. So let's dip in. I won't read them all, I'll leave them on the screen. You can always, freeze the screen and read them, just random ones. You're the loveliest and the saddest flower in the world. Wow, that reminds me of a poem of mine. We're all free in reality. Such a simple fact, yet we act as if we didn't know. I'll put the thing here in case you want to read with me. If we have the power to destroy, does that mean we also have the power to create? You never come back as you started out. No one is a hero in this world. The way to happiness does not require heroics. You may think you'll understand it all when you grow up. Instead, you'll even forget what you know. Growing up is like falling into a deep sleep. That's interesting, isn't it? Growing up is like falling into a deep sleep. What are we forgetting? What have we gone to sleep to? What are we not awake to as we grow up? What do we lose? the ability to be us, to just live from moment to moment, something like that. I guess that's it. And if that's what I understand it as, then that's it for me. That's beautiful. Thanks very much for sharing that. I don't know if there's any other she got some lovely comments on that as well. Thanks everyone for commenting there. And yeah, so this is basically what I'm doing. To remind you before I go, love words, me too. I talk words live at 8 o'clock in the evening Paris time on Thursdays. Come listen, laugh, discover, comment and question. So that's this is my little Thursday evening game. And here's more Dorothy, but I think we've read this one before. I think so. And I'll finish with my latest. This is from this morning. And this is it. So here's this woman looking into, I'll show you the picture again, if I haven't already. Looking into one of those galleries I mentioned in an earlier post. She's looking into this huge gallery from outside. This is a public passage. Anyone can go by here. We can look into the Louvre. And this was the time of COVID-19 with the masks and stuff. And you know, there aren't as many people as usual. And they've got their masks on, wandering around. It's quite a weird sort of atmosphere. And these are the words that fell out of my head for that. Will the solitude of the socially distanced museum bummer be up for a few gongs at the next Oscars or BAFTAs? Maybe. In mid-October, they were letting a few folk back into the Louvre and other sites, until they weren't again. Now we're considering reopening non-essential establishments such as cafes, restaurants and cinemas. Or not, if the COVID-19 contamination rates don't improve. Anyone seen The Grinch? The Grinch is a cartoon, an animated character, or maybe not, who stole Christmas in a film. Although I think it came from was it a Dr. Seuss book, maybe? Although the Christmas lights are up, we're in for a grim crimble if the traditional window displays at Printemps and Galeries Lafayette are quashed, and the atmospheric open-air villages on the Champs-Élysées and at La Défense are cancelled. Which they are. Yikes! If it's not terrorist threats, it's vile virus alerts. Drowning your sorrows with an M&S mulled wine kit in front of the terrifying telly, Tat, is starting to look like the only merry option. Cheers! And that was my written output for this week, with the exception of a Lazy Pig article, which I'll quickly show you. I won't read it, I'll show you that it exists. Lazy Pig, and it's in the Creativity Bites section. So it's about creativity, being creative, in a way. So I've got creativity articles, I've got productivity articles, which is doing the stuff. I've got Infinity Bites, which are about more life, the universe and everything topics. And Curiosity Bites are about the craziness of life. So this was a new article in Creativity Bites. It's number 2. And it's called Your Art Isn't Worth the Paper It's Painted On. Your art isn't worth the paper it's painted on. It looks like this. I'll read the first section. Every day, because I've decided to do this daily, painful as it is. Every day, when I sit down to paint, my insides are in turmoil. I'm racked with doubt, which is a terrible cliche, but pretty close to how I actually feel. I spend long minutes or more gazing at the results of yesterday's endeavours and mutter to myself, what utter crap. That's the beginning of the article. And you know, there's an expression like, you know, your book isn't worth the paper it's printed on. So I took that, I changed it into art. Your art isn't worth the paper it's painted on. It could be anything. Basically saying, it's an insult, you know, saying what you've created isn't even worth the materials you used to create it. But don't be fooled. You can read it that way, but you can also read it that that's not all it's worth. It's not just worth the paper that you're writing on and the ink in the pen that you used. It's actually worth far, far more than that to many people. People who, you know, resonate with you, who like your message. It could even get to sort of infinite value to someone if they really must have it at all costs. So that's what this article is about. Check it out, it's quite fun, and it's on lazypig.com. And one more from the sponsors. this is now open for enrolment. It's my masterclass, which is starting at the end of January. There's a 5-day free challenge before it for creativity. Very fun, very easy. And this is a 9-week project, which will take you from an idea, which you have when you come on the thing. You don't come with no idea. You come with an idea. You're just stuck, or you want to go to get your idea out there in good company. So that's what this is. You come along. In 9 weeks, you will have defined and developed and delivered your 9-week project, and you'll feel amazing about it. And that's one aspect. The other aspect is you become an expert on creativity and productivity techniques. So, you know, like getting started, like finishing, like keeping going, like overcoming hurdles, like getting amazing ideas, like getting the discipline to produce regularly. So it's 2 courses in one. One is getting your 9-week project completed. The other is becoming practically an expert, and certainly an expert on you in regards to creativity and productivity. So do check that out. It's in any of my groups. There's a link to it, and read it. It's fun to read, and I think it will really inspire you. So I'd love to see you on that with me, and that starts in January. That's it, folks. Thank you everybody for watching. Thanks for watching on the replay. Thanks for watching live. This possibly still is, if I can remind you, the creative blog and article writing show, although we do tend to drift into poetry, short stories, memes, anything that comes along. I haven't shown you any of my latest memes, have I? Do I have time for that? Well, I do. So I'm just going to pop over to my other group. How can I do that? And maybe show you a couple of new... See, what I've started doing now is, and you can do this to promote yourself, I've started doing memes specifically to promote my coaching, and also another free room, a Zoom room that I help out in for people who just need someone to talk to. It's not suicide or anything. It's just, you know, fuzzy. Oh, there's a great word in there. Fuzzy thinking, something like that. There's a great word for that in the word museum, and I decided to do some memes based on my photographs. I'm recycling here, and you can't see this. Don't know how far down I have to... Oh, this is one of my favourite, most brilliant cartoons of the entire year. It uses the same dots, right? Data. Some of them are coloured. Information. Draw lines between them. Knowledge. Realise that some of them are actually very, very special. More special than the others, let's say. Insight. Wisdom. Link those insights and make something amazing. Conspiracy theory. Draw a purple unicorn around them. That's very, very clever, I think. Okay, here we go. So this is to show you how I'm using my images and my words to promote my stuff. And I do recommend that you do something similar. Try it out. And I say that because you might think, why am I telling you this? Well, I'm expecting, if you're watching this, for you to be a bit like me, desperate to create and get loads of stuff out there. So that's why I'm saying that to you. I'm not expecting you to be someone... You could have just popped in, and that's fine. But I'm speaking to people who, you know, so this isn't in the slightest way saying that I'm great or this is any good. It's saying, look what I'm doing. You do the same, or do something different, but do something. So this is what I've decided to do with my images, put my words on top to promote myself, because that's how I do it. I don't want other people's stuff promoting me. So the challenge, the creative challenge, is finding the words, very few words, which go with the image and promote the message. It's a really great challenge, and I have the same challenge when I'm promoting the sort of charity Zoom room where people can go and have a friendly chat. So this is what I did here. Leave your boring old grey life behind, and they're on grey, and there's 2 people going off into the distance. Get creative, get coaching with infinitycoaching.biz. And I think there's another couple I can get to. That's my article. More lifestyle. Here's one. So it's the ones you've seen, you see. Display your true colours. It's very simple. She's very colourful, and this is very much about expressing yourself in the world the way that you'd like to. Wow, it's 59. 1 hour. I've been going for an hour, and it's the end. Maybe one more, just for fun. One more for luck. Bum, 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 bum. I was with my son yesterday. He wanted to hear the can-can. It's stuck in my head. Now this is for the show I was telling you about, the place where people can go, and I recommend that you do. If you want to chat, it's called 𝗏𝗪𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 got 24-hour coverage, but we're getting there quickly. So you can go there, you click, and you're in the Zoom room with a mentor, a host like me. We've got grounding in coaching, a very sort of powerful way of coaching. And it's very much about listening. There's no judgment, of course. There's no real, you should do this and don't do that. It's not really about that. It's more about we listen to you, we have a conversation, a chat. If you just want to chat because you're not feeling that great, you're feeling a bit lonely, that's fine. But if you've got worries, then that's fine too. And in coaching, we don't give you the solution because we believe that you've got the solution in you, but we help you find it. So that's that. And what did I come up with? This is one of my favorite images. It's this lone lady waiting for a train which is whizzing through, or it's probably slowing down or speeding up, I don't know. And it's in this really pretty heavy industrial looking station. And I just love the image. It's very dark, somber, almost menacing. And the words I came up with were, life can seem like a non-stop express train. Let's slow things down a little. I don't get as kind of clever as I do on some of my own stuff, because this is for another thing. It's for heartfeltpresence.org. I try to keep it reasonably literal, but still having a message, still having a link to the image and a link to what we're doing here. So that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it as ever. If you want to get in touch for anything, you can, and I will see you again soon. My next show is on, it's Thursday. So my next shows are tomorrow. I've got a Facebook Live in the Today's the Day group. Wonderful, beautiful group where people share their important moments of each day, and you can too. Up to one a day, up to one per day. You say, today's the day and you say something nice that you did. If you want it to be motivational, you can say, today's the day I will do something. And then come back later and in your comments you can say, I did it. And I've also got a Zoom room tomorrow, just me. It's not with any other people, it's just me there to chat with you. You tell me what you're pleased with having done this week. We have a chat, it's relaxed, it's fun, it's nice, it's you and me and whoever else is there. Just got one little thing here. I have listened at the same time I've been doing other things. As you should. I think that's wonderful. I think that's really great, Dorothy. Thanks for listening. You can even have music on as well, you don't actually have to listen to what I'm saying. If you see something interesting, have a look. But there's something very nice about just having someone speaking calmly or excitedly or enthusiastically about something. You don't need to be listening to every word. Just feel that I'm here sending you creative vibes. I want you to be creative. I will do everything I can to help you be as creative as you would love to be. That's my mission here. Thanks everyone. Thanks Dorothy. Thanks 𝗬𝗏𝗪. Thanks anyone else who watches on the replay, and take care. Talk to you again very soon. This is 𝗬𝗏𝗪 signing out. Thanks for being part of my creative universe and for allowing me to be part of yours. Bye for now.